Do you want to know what most doctors won't say out loud, but quietly track in their elderly patients? As we age past 70, the body doesn't always send loud, dramatic warnings. Instead, it whispers, gently, subtly, but consistently. And if we learn to listen, we may just buy ourselves more time, peace, and dignity. Some signs are easy to overlook: a change in posture, a shift in appetite, a moment of confusion that passes quickly. But for those who spent decades caring for older adults, especially doctors in hospitals and hospices, these little things speak volumes. In this video, we're going to reveal 7 key symptoms that doctors silently monitor, often long before any official diagnosis is made. These are the clues, the quiet signs that the body may be preparing for its final chapter. They're not meant to scare you. They're meant to prepare you so you can recognize them, respond with clarity, and offer care to yourself or your loved one with compassion, not fear. Please watch until the end, because some of these signs may already be appearing in someone you love, or in you. And if you find this video helpful, please consider subscribing, leaving a comment, and sharing it with someone who needs this information. It might make a world of difference. Now, let's begin with symptom 1.
Symptom 1. Persistent fatigue that doesn't match activity level. Imagine waking up after a full night's rest, but still feeling like you ran a marathon. Not just tired, but drained. As if your body is working harder just to exist. This isn't the normal, "I'm getting older" kind of tired. This is a level of fatigue that lingers, no matter how much rest, no matter how light the day. Doctors pay close attention to this, especially when it's not linked to an active illness, because persistent, disproportionate fatigue often signals that the body is beginning to conserve energy, quietly preparing for deeper physiological changes. Let's take a real example. Margaret, 82, used to enjoy short walks and preparing her own meals. But over a few months, she began skipping morning routines. She'd wake up tired, skip breakfast, and fall asleep during afternoon conversations. There was no fever, no major disease flare-up. But her doctor noticed something many family members didn't: a soft withdrawal from life. Fatigue at this stage isn't just about the muscles. It's about organ slowdown, metabolic shifts, and changes in how the brain regulates energy. And here's the part people often miss. The fatigue isn't always visible in how someone speaks. Some elderly folks still sound alert, even joke around, but they start saying "no thanks" more often, to food, to outings, to visitors. That quiet no is sometimes the body's way of saying, "I need to pull back now." But the good news is, some fatigue is reversible. If caught early, it could point to anemia, sleep apnea, malnutrition, or even emotional burnout, all treatable. So if you or someone you care for is slowing down in ways that feel off, don't brush it off as just aging. It might be the very first signal the body is offering. Watch closely, ask gently, and if that quiet tiredness keeps returning, listen with care.
Symptom 2. Unintentional weight loss and muscle shrinking. Have you ever looked at someone you love and thought, they seem smaller lately? Not just thinner, but frailer, like their very presence is fading. Doctors pay very close attention when an older adult begins to lose weight without trying, especially if that weight loss comes with shrinking arms, thinner legs, or looser clothing around the shoulders. Because this isn't just about fat, it's about muscle, And muscle, after age 70, is life. Unintentional weight loss in older adults is often the body's quiet way of saying, I'm not absorbing, I'm not regenerating, I'm letting go. Let's revisit Margaret. After months of fatigue, her daughter noticed her wrists looked thinner, her clothes hung looser, and even her face seemed more hollow. Margaret hadn't changed her diet much, but she simply wasn't as hungry. She skipped meals, she forgot snacks. And her doctor saw it instantly. Because weight loss in elders isn't always about how much food is on the plate. It's about what the body can process, retain, and turn into strength. This condition even has a name: sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle mass and function. It's one of the strongest predictors of loss of independence and mortality. The saddest part? This kind of muscle loss can happen quietly, over weeks or months, without anyone noticing, until one day, an elder struggles to get out of a chair, lift a bag, or even hold a cup steady. But here's where awareness can help. If caught early, doctors can test for nutrient deficiencies, check hormone levels, and recommend strength-based physical therapy. Even small movements can make a difference. If you notice this in someone you love, sudden thinness, looser clothing, a smaller presence in the room, don't assume it's just age. Ask about meals, observe strength, get support. Because sometimes the body is whispering through absence, the absence of mass, of energy, of presence. And when you catch it early, you give that person a chance to regain more than just pounds, you give them a chance to reclaim life.
Symptom 3. A shift in social behavior. Quiet withdrawal. It often begins so gently, most families miss it. An older loved one who once called every Sunday suddenly takes longer to return your messages. They still smile when you visit, but something's different. They seem quieter, more distant, content to sit in silence where once they filled the room with stories. This subtle withdrawal is something doctors, especially geriatric specialists and hospice physicians, watch for very closely. Because social detachment is one of the most emotionally significant yet under-recognized signs that a person may be nearing life's final stage. You see, humans are wired for connection, and the desire to connect, to share, to listen, to laugh, stays strong for most of our lives. But when the body begins to slow down, when the brain starts conserving its emotional energy, that drive to reach out often fades long before physical symptoms become obvious. Let's imagine George. He was 84, known for being the heart of every family gathering. He told the same 3 jokes every Christmas, and everyone still laughed. But over the last year, George stopped initiating calls. He skipped a wedding, then a birthday. He said, "I just don't have it in me right now." And while his family thought he might be depressed, his doctor saw a broader picture. George wasn't sad, he was simply turning inward, preparing, letting go one small decision at a time. Now, this doesn't mean every elder who's quiet is dying. Sometimes people need space. But when social withdrawal becomes a pattern, especially alongside other changes like fatigue or weight loss, it becomes a clear signal. Here's what to watch for: less interest in calls or visits, avoiding group events they once enjoyed, choosing silence over small talk, subtle emotional distance, even from close family. The response? Not panic, but gentle presence. Don't force connection. Offer it. Sit beside them. Listen more than you speak. Let your love be felt in the quiet, not just in the words. Because when a person starts to withdraw from the world, what they need most is someone who's willing to stay close, even when they say less.
Symptom 4. A noticeable change in breathing pattern. Sometimes the body speaks in rhythm. in the gentle rise and fall of the chest. And when that rhythm begins to shift, doctors pay very close attention. One of the more telling signs that a person may be nearing the end of life is a change in their breathing pattern, even when they don't seem sick. It may start subtly, a deeper sigh than usual, a pause before exhaling, a moment where the breath seems to catch, then continue, or an irregular pace, breathing that becomes shallow, then deep, then still. These aren't always signs of panic or distress. In fact, many elders with changing breathing patterns are calm, even peaceful. But behind that stillness, their respiratory system may be slowing down. Doctors often observe a pattern called Chine-Stokes respiration, a cycle where breathing speeds up, then slows, then pauses altogether before starting again. It's a sign that the brain and body are beginning to work differently, less efficiently, as if preparing for something final. Take Helen, a 79-year-old woman who had no major lung issues. Her daughter noticed that, while reading or resting, Helen sometimes took long pauses between breaths. Other times, she sighed deeply without reason. Helen brushed it off. "I'm just relaxing." But her doctor recognized a deeper shift. The body, when nearing the end, often slows in waves, and the breath, being one of the most vital, instinctive functions, reflects that slowing in quiet, intimate ways. It's important to know, a change in breathing doesn't always mean death is near, but combined with other signs, fatigue, withdrawal, weight loss, it becomes a meaningful pattern. What can you do? Stay observant. Don't panic, but do mention it to a doctor. Avoid pointing it out in a way that causes anxiety. Instead, simply say, "I noticed your breathing felt different today. How are you feeling?" And if your loved one is calm, don't rush to fix what isn't broken. Sometimes, all they need is quiet companionship, someone to sit beside them and match their slower pace without fear. Because in those still moments, the breath may be soft, but the presence, yours and theirs, speaks volumes.
Symptom 5. Skin changes, paleness, coolness, or mottling. The skin tells a story, and for those nearing the end of life, that story becomes visible in delicate ways, like a canvas quietly fading at the edges. Doctors are trained to watch for subtle skin changes in older adults. Skin that turns unusually pale or waxy, hands or feet that feel cold, even in warm rooms, a faint purplish-blue pattern called mottling that appears on the legs or arms. These aren't just cosmetic changes, they're signs that circulation is shifting, that the body is prioritizing blood flow to vital organs while slowly letting go of the extremities. Imagine a man named Bill, age 88. He'd been slowing down for months, but his family didn't think much of it. Then, one evening, his daughter noticed that his fingertips looked blotchy and bluish. His feet were cold, even with thick socks. And though he said he felt fine, his skin felt different, more fragile, less alive. His doctor gently explained, "This doesn't mean the end is tomorrow, but it does mean the body is redirecting. It's focusing inward. That's something we need to honor, observe, and prepare for." Mottling is not painful, nor is paleness or cool skin, but these are signs that the body is moving inward, preserving core function, conserving energy, drawing life closer to the center. And here's something many don't realize. These changes often happen before any dramatic decline. They're not about imminent death. They're about a transition, quiet and slow. What can you do? Keep your loved one warm with soft blankets. Avoid rubbing the skin. It may be fragile. Hold their hand, offer comfort, and let them feel your calm presence. And most importantly, don't rush to interpret these signs as tragedy. They may simply be the body's way of preparing, gently. Because the skin, like a sunset, changes in color and temperature as day fades to night. And your presence, steady and kind, can be the warmth that carries them through.
Symptom 6. Changes in mental clarity, confusion, or moments of disconnection. There's a kind of silence that comes, not from the mouth, but from the mind. A moment when a familiar face looks at you like they're searching for a memory that just slipped away. Doctors recognize this immediately. Changes in mental clarity, sudden confusion, forgetfulness, or moments where the elder seems elsewhere can be powerful indicators that the body, and especially the brain, is beginning to shift. These moments don't always look like dramatic dementia. Sometimes it's just repeating a question they asked 5 minutes ago, pausing mid-sentence as if they forgot what they were about to say, seeming disengaged during a conversation they usually enjoy, or asking, "Where are we again?" in a place they've been many times. Let's talk about Eleanor. She was 86, vibrant, witty, and still did her crossword puzzles every morning. But over a few weeks, her daughter noticed that Eleanor occasionally stared out the window, lost in thought. She'd forget appointments or ask what day it was, not once, but several times. She seemed present, but not quite connected. This isn't always a sign of Alzheimer's or dementia. Sometimes it's a signal that the body's energy is being reallocated, that cognitive sharpness is fading gently, like a light dimming, not from disease, but from nature itself. Doctors call this terminal delirium when it becomes frequent. But even when it's mild or occasional, it still matters. Why? Because the brain, like the rest of the body, needs energy to function. And near the end of life, the brain often lets go of clarity before it lets go of breath. What can you do? Stay calm. Don't correct them harshly. Gently repeat names or information without shame. Use soft lighting, familiar music, and comforting objects. Let them feel safe, even if they seem not quite here. And remember, confusion isn't always suffering. Sometimes it's just the mind releasing the need to hold everything, letting go of details, holding on to feelings instead. And in that space, your kindness, your steady voice, your warm hand becomes the anchor they trust.
Symptom 7. Sudden spiritual awareness or inner peace. There's something almost sacred that happens near the end, when the body is quieting, but the soul begins to speak more clearly. Many elders, even those who weren't particularly spiritual, begin to express a sense of peace, reflection, or quiet clarity as they approach the final phase of life. They may say things like, "I've been thinking about your grandfather lately. I had a dream of my mother last night. She was smiling. I feel like I'm being prepared for something." Some even describe visions, seeing loved ones long gone, or sensing a light or a presence in the room that brings comfort instead of fear. Let's take Henry. He was 91 and had been quiet for weeks. One day he told his son, "I think I'm ready. I've lived a full life. I'm not scared." That moment wasn't about religion. It wasn't about belief. It was about acceptance and the mysterious way the human heart sometimes knows what the mind cannot explain. Doctors and hospice nurses call this spiritual clarity or preparatory awareness. It doesn't mean the end is immediate, but it often comes when the body and soul are slowly aligning. And here's something beautiful. This awareness often brings comfort not just to the dying, but to their loved ones. It's a chance to have a final meaningful conversation. To say thank you. To say I forgive you. To simply hold someone's hand without needing to fix or change anything. What can you do? Let them speak. Even if it sounds unusual, don't interrupt. Ask open questions like, "Tell me more about that." Offer your presence, not just your words. And listen not just with ears, but with the heart. Because when a person reaches this place, where they feel more connected to something beyond this world, they are not leaving, they are arriving at a place of peace. And your role in that moment is not to pull them back, but to walk beside them for as long as they need, until they are ready. Now that you've heard these 7 signs, ask yourself gently, have you seen these in someone you love? Or perhaps in yourself? None of these signals mean the end is immediate, but together they form a picture, quiet, meaningful, and full of messages, if we're willing to listen. And remember, this isn't just about dying. It's about how to live with awareness, grace, and connection in whatever time we have. Heart, if this video helped you reflect or brought comfort in any way, please let us know in the comments. Type, "I'm here and I'm listening," and share your story. You're not alone. And if you want more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon so you never miss a message that might truly matter. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Until next time, take care of your body, honor your feelings, and cherish the quiet moments. We'll see you in the next video.